Hey guys, Joe from GameShark here. In this video we're going to take a look at Assassin's Creed Unity. Enjoy. I was paralysed by the sight of the review copy as soon as it arrived at my door, with my fond memories stemming back to Assassin's Creed 1 in the rusty plains of Damascus, and then trekking through the fiery shores of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I wasn't sure what to expect when I launched Unity. Maybe the load times are faster, perhaps the graphics will knock my socks off and leave me dazed for hours, or perchance the gameplay will set the standard for its genre for years to come. High hopes, right? I never thought an Assassin's Creed game would disappoint me as much as Unity did. The following is my experiences of Assassin's Creed Unity. The story is set within Paris, in the tumultuous times of the French Revolution. A young erratic boy named Arnaud is told to wait for his father outside of a parliamentary building. Minutes later, a playful little girl caught his attention and he galvanised into action, thus following her for hide and seek. One moment led to another and Arnaud was taking too long, so he quickly returned to his assumed waiting position only to find a mass of people surrounding the area. Troubled by the sight, Arnaud discovers his father's body lying dead from what appeared to have been a grisly murder. The girl's father, a prominent figurehead within the society, then offers to adopt young Arnaud. Finally gripping onto adulthood, Arnaud sculpts himself into a witty character that is known to be mischievous and reluctant to authority. Players resume the role of Arnaud and can roam in the beautiful city of Paris. Momentarily after, Arnaud also witnesses his adopted father's murder and gets framed for it, hence being put in jail just before the French Revolution. Arnaud is then set out on a path towards vengeance and eventually finds a connection to the Creed. I won't spoil too much of the game for you, but I'd like to explain how confusing the storylines can be. First of all, I'd like to commend the Ubisoft development teams for their clever ideas on the storyline. At the same time, it's too much for new players to take in. For example, although Arnaud is set on a plot to find his father's killers and probe for clues, he joins the Assassin's Creed and becomes involved in a dilemma with a rival group called the Templars. Meanwhile, Arnaud is entwined in a semi-love affair with the girl from the beginning of the game, Elise, whom is a Templar. Romeo and Juliet, anyone? But wait, there's more. And amongst all of this, players are actually stuck in a virtual playground called the Animus, which is owned by a corporation called Abstergo. Their goal is for you, the player, to retrieve key fragments of memory that is found within the DNA samples of subjects, linked to their ancestral memory. This is the sole reason why players play as Arnaud in the first place. Confused? Well, if you're new to Assassin's Creed, let me say, I thought so. Aside from everything I've mentioned about the storyline, Unity is one of the most historically accurate games on the market. Nearly all of the side missions in the game are inspired by true events and delve into real murders and Sherlock Holmes style investigations. There is rich detail put into all of the buildings to signify how it may have looked in the 18th century. Ubisoft's consulting skills with French historians really paid off to construct a non-controversial video game. Another worthy mention before I move on is how long it took the development team to recreate the Notre Dame. It took one developer 2 years, or 5,000 hours, to recreate the Notre Dame to every last detail in digital form. The game renders Notre Dame as a life-size building to the ratio of 1 and takes ages for Arnaud to scale the gargantuan building. Very impressive indeed. One of the crucial benefactors of Unity's possible success was the anticipation of stellar graphics. While the chilly streets of Paris burst with vitality and chaos, I couldn't tell the difference between the graphics of Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Unity. As a Creed fanatic, I was expecting next-generation graphics for a next-generation game. Instead, Unity offered the exact same graphics as seen in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, with a few extra touch-ups. Sure, the captivating display of historical monuments and buildings were awesome, but the city felt like a repetitive sandbox with the same looking buildings everywhere you turned. Nevertheless, the graphics would be bearable if the gameplay was good, in which we will move on to now. Unity introduces a few new components to the franchise that are really intriguing. Firstly, there is a new event that occurs infrequently during the storyline, called the Time Shift. Time shifts are intended glitches in the storyline that require Arnaud to jump through a portal, travelling through space and time to another era. There was one occasion where I time travelled to 1944 in a conflict zone next to the Eiffel Tower. That's World War II for those who don't know. The main mechanics that most are familiar with, such as combat and stealth operated maneuvering, have slightly changed. In Assassin's Creed Unity, it is reported that the developers were inspired to incorporate some fencing techniques into the combat. It is definitely a lot trickier and less predictable than its forerunner installments, yet the most annoying thing about the combat for me was the unintuitive gameplay. Stealth was tremendously unrealistic at times. Amidst the heated pursuit, I ran and hid amongst a crowd of 3 civilians, and it was so blatantly obvious. Still, the pursuers struggled to find me. I mean, I was fully clothed in red, hilarious but unrealistic. And what can I say about the parkour? It's just the same as we saw in Assassin's Creed 1. Unfortunately, I think Sunset Overdrive has benchmarked what a free roam parkour game should be, in my honest opinion. During my catastrophe of an experience, I was one of the unlucky few that suffered glitches in my game, on the Xbox One, that made it really dissatisfying to play. In some cases, when I got surrounded by enemies, I'd get killed in an instant by random gunmen. In addition to that, I was always getting into the predicament of being surrounded by 2 or more enemies that would tend to drift outside of the camera screen, and would not indicate when to dodge or parry. This happened all throughout the game, and I'm not sure if it was intentional, but it certainly made Unity aggravating to play. To make up for all of this, Ubisoft included a massive gallery of armor and weapons to purchase, unlock and upgrade. To expand on that, players can now unlock and wear all of the previous protagonists' outfits, and can fully customize their appearance with colors. The customization is quite necessary if assassins were to stand out from amongst their friends in the new co-op mode, which is awesome by the way. The co-op mode allows assassins to team up and assassinate certain targets and perform heists to claim exclusive gear, and doing it with friends makes it all the sweeter. Okay, so this is the 7th installment of the Assassin's Creed franchise, and we've only witnessed a few changes to the game. Sure, the character customization in the co-op really did stick out like a sore thumb, in a good way, but the rest of the game mechanics were deprived of innovation. The game felt rushed, there were a ton of bugs and evident glitches, and the features presented were still old material. Assassin's Creed Unity has without a doubt taken a few steps backwards comparing it to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I was not at all impressed with the parkour and combat. The storyline was okay, the characters were likeable to some regards, but to be honest, Unity has been a clear-cut disappointment for me this year, as the anticipation was high. And what made it worse was the glitches that I experienced. They were mind-numbing, and I sometimes found it hard to play on. Let's just hope the next Assassin's Creed is more like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Alright guys, that's my take on the latest Assassin's Creed game. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Cheers guys.